Okay, so hopefully my audio is okay on this, on my microphone. Um, and if it's not, at least you'll have the video, right? And I can always put some audio after it. So where we're going to go is we're going to go into course materials. Scroll down, find your module 2 Word folder. We're going to open that Word folder up. Now, I know I've assigned the practice, we've assigned these practice and training. We kind of got into the student videos and the PowerPoint presentations. And now it's time to get into our 4-credit assignments. So the 4-credit assignments are essentially some of the work that you did in your simulations in Word, and also some of the practice. So when you open this up, you'll see it opens up into this page that has a lot of different files. So there's the Word Chapter 12 e-text. Now that's going to take you to the exact chapter that you're going to have to follow directions on. So you'll be needing the e-text here. The e-text is actually like essential to doing the work in Word. Like we're going to have to follow line by line. There's some instructions for grader assignments right here. There are some videos from YouTube. I'll be honest, they're not tremendously helpful. I wouldn't spend a lot of time in on those. There's also some Chapter 12 Learn How-To videos. Some of these can be helpful if you have a very specific question. As you can see, like for every activity here, they have a little video. But I think what you're going to find is that with most of the work here, it's not so difficult that you can't really solve it yourself in the book. So it's nice that they have these materials, but you're going to probably find, okay, it's not that hard, all right? Especially if you did okay on the simulations and you kind of understood what was happening on the simulations with help. So I'm going to go back into this folder. And so they do give you samples of what the Project 12A and the 12B look like. And they also give you, so they give you a sample of what it looks like. Then you see this little pencil and a pencil and a pad. It's like a clipboard. Oh, I think I hovered over it too long. And then there's a Word 2006 Grader project. So we don't need to go into the Grader projects here yet. I'll open it up so you can take a look. These are 2 other projects. We're going to do those after these other 2. So you don't need to go in there. And then there's this Bell Orchid word group. We're probably going to do we're going to do a modified version most likely of that Bell Orchid word group. So our focus here for tonight and for homework will be to get started on this 12A sample, this Chapter 12 Grader Project 12A, and then also for homework to do the 12B. So this is where I just want to kind of be clear with the class, like it's very important that you do your homework, because it's very easy to fall behind, because I'm probably going to spend the next 45 minutes on 12A alone, and you're going to be like, this took a lot of time. And you're going to realize, like, oh, this takes time with me at a computer, kind of going sequentially through it. So what I like to do in this class is take the time to kind of show you the resources, get into the book, show you how the sequence is, show you the activities, and show you the things to download. All right? So what I'm going to click on here is the 12A sample. So for any one of these projects, they will provide you what a sample will look like of the final product. So for this one, it's essentially this flyer about internships. And you just look at the details of the flyer. There's some text with some styling. There's some centered text box. There's a picture of a parrot. There's some text. And if you remember from the simulations, do you remember when it asked you to insert a file from an object? They actually provide, in a moment you'll see actually where those files are located. The difference here is now you'll be working with actual Word documents, okay? So this is really where the rubber meets the road on the course in terms of like actually using the software. So here's what I'd like you guys to do. Is go into where you see the pencil and the board and click on this Chapter 12 Project 12A folder. And this is the part that, why I want to like record this lesson, because I feel like this can be a little confusing sometimes. Because some people have more experience than others with, it's thinking. I'm gonna click open. Maybe I need to click open. Oh, my block-ups, my pop-up blockers, there you go. I haven't been using this computer for my IT lab lesson. So there we go, that's a good example of, I'm going to allow my pop-ups from Pearson, done. And now I'm going to open up my grader. It already wants to open. And then it opens up this little page and it says, under no circumstances should students share any grader files. Sharing files results in instructors being notified of any integrity violation, also known as cheating. So don't share your files with people, work on your own work is essentially what they're saying here. Go ahead and hit start, and what it's going to open this window like this. So we have downloading our starting materials, working on the computer with the assignment, uploading the assignment, and submit the assignment for grading. So what I'm going to recommend to all of us is, we all have a OneDrive account, right? So what we'll do tonight is we'll download the files, we'll start working, we'll save them, but we probably won't have a finished assignment unless like you go super fast, right? In my last class, we started on the assignment at we have the same starting time, 6. We probably started on the assignment around 6:30, and I probably had only 2 people or 3 people out of 15 that finished by 7:30, in an hour and 20 minutes. So it's not really realistic that you're going to finish this tonight, but so when you save it, I want you guys to be ready to save it to your OneDrive so you have it saved so that we can upload it when you're done, okay? And that may be when you're home, that may be next week in class. The goal is to try to get them ready to upload for our next class or on your own. So I'm going to have you go and click on download materials, and when you click on download materials, what you'll get is you'll get this little window, and the very first file is the instructions, the second is the actual Word document, the third is the text document that in the simulation that you're asked to kind of insert, that's the text document. And then the fourth one is the picture of the bird. So you can actually click on these individually, and what they'll do is especially if you're in Chrome, you'll notice that they load up right on the bottom of the screen. And you want to tell me where else I can find them now? Where else can I find them also, now that I've clicked download? Not yet. It's on your local computer somewhere, on your regular, on your
SPC.
Yep, on this. Well, your file explorer. Remember the very first area you kind of learned in that first part of. So if I click on File Explorer, File Explorer will I can see my downloads folder. So you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay. So if I open up File Explorer, I have everyone see downloads? I click on downloads. I can also see them here. They'll be here. I just need to refresh this once it loads up. So anytime that you click on something, to do a download, just remember that they go to your downloads folder. For some reason, only the W2 bird is showing up. I do not know why only that file is showing.
They're in a zip folder on mine.
Yep, you also get a zip folder. I'm gonna. Is everyone using Chrome? Everyone using Chrome for the most part? If you're not using Chrome, does everyone see the 4 files below downloaded? Okay. Everyone see that they downloaded the files? Okay. the other part to understand is if you have a zip folder, how to extract from a zip folder and get your files. Does everyone remember that process if you need it? So you're going to need four files for this project. Just guess I'm all I'm really getting at. So I'm going to X out of my file manager, X out of this window, X out of this window. I've downloaded my files. I could click on the blue button. If I click on the blue button, hit download, it's going to put the whole folder. If I do the whole folder, I need to make sure I extract it. But it's essentially the same thing as doing all files.
That's why.
Yeah,
That's
so
why.
the whole folder is all files in a zip folder. What you're going to need to do is then click on it and then extract it. So if you're ready to work, just clicking on the individual files is kind of a good way to go. So now I have these files, but you also need to know that, see this extract all? Remember when we learned that early? You click extract all, and then you tell where you want it to go, and you can put it on your desktop. And then you can say desktop, and then hit extract. And what that'll do is it will put the folder on my desktop. So I'll just close this window, I'll close this window, I'll close this window, and I should have a folder. Where is it? I'm going to organize my desktop real quickly. I'm going to sort by type, and where's my folder of files? I have a file desktop. Oh, here's the bird. That may have been from my other class, though. I have a shortcut to I'm gonna re-extract files. Extract here. All you really want is you want to have access to those 4 files. And there they are. I've done as much as like copied them from here and then pasted them where I needed them to. See, I already have them here. What is, they got a little confused with my ones I did with my other class. So I have a bird file, I have a student file, and then I have my text file. And I had some other Word files that they kind of... So when I open up this student grader file, I take a little bit. So you just want to make sure you have those 4 files. And you're going to do the same thing for Project B. This is just taking a little while to open. And I think my Word is set to default open up enabled in that protected mode, which is not bad. So if you notice, this is a blank document. And all they want us to do is have a blank document, but you'll notice that it has a Student AIO Word Chapter 12 Grader, 12A at the top. They give us a blank document because that's the document we're going to start our project with. And they just want us to have that name, okay? We're going to change the name, midway through the project, but just so you know, that's what it is. Then we have this other file, the flyer instructions. Now, the flyer instructions can at times be a little misleading, so I want to go over that quickly. What you'll find in Chapter 12 in the book is that as you start Project A, it's going to list, if you see step 1, it says open the file Word Grader 12A. That's the file we just opened up. So essentially we just started on step 1. So then it tells us turn to Project 12A and complete all the activities 12.01 to -12.16. Alright? That's a bunch of activities. Alright? It sounds short here, but it's actually quite a bit. So actually in 12.01, it asks us to rename the file that we just downloaded to last name, first name, 1A flyer. Alright? And we can do that in just a moment. and then it tells us complete 12. So this document right here, if you get a chance to print it out, it's helpful to print out when you're going through the book. But also keep in mind that, like, there's a lot, like, there are multiple steps within each activity. So even though it says activity 12.03, you might be doing 2 or 3 things within 12.03. It's not just like one thing. So it can get a little frustrating sometimes because we only got, we spent about an hour and 20 minutes in class, and we got to step 10. And then I actually had a student said, "Oh, why are we stopping when we're almost done on step 10?" I had to point out, I'm like, look at the next page, and there was 8 more steps. So that was the kind of the part of it that he needs to kind of like understand. So just remember, there's 18 steps. All right. So you don't need that right away because a lot of those steps are already covered in the chapter 12 book, but it's there in case you want to print it out and kind of use it as a guide. I find it not so much in this assignment, but you'll find assignments that it's actually really helpful to kind of check off the activities as you go through the book, because the book gets kind of busy. It has like a lot of graphics going on, and they'll ask you to do different things. So if you open up this 4th file, you'll see that this is the text that they asked you to open and insert when you were in the simulation, but it was in that simulation. Does everyone see how to get the files? Everyone find how to get the files? Okay. So what we'll do is, before we leave tonight, I'll make sure you back these files up in your OneDrive account so that you have them to kind of start with. So you will back these up in our OneDrive. We'll make a folder for them in our OneDrive as well. And just remember that these steps are the same ones that you're going to use when you're doing your Project B. All right, so because you're really going to have to do that Project B on your own. That's kind of the independence part of the course, is like getting in and kind of getting your hands dirty on your own. So remember this process of opening up the assignment, seeing the download, seeing the instructions, seeing that part for the upload, and then that's the same in Project A and B. So I just wanted you to understand that those are consistent among the 2 projects. All right. So I'm going to keep this one open because this is my Word doc that I'm going to be editing. I don't have to rename it yet. So what do you think I should open up next, class? What's next for me? I'm going to close this out. And they have this work the assignment on your computer. They have the preview the steps. I'm going to click on preview the steps. So this preview the steps, if you notice, is the same as that other sheet. So this one's not tremendously helpful, but so you can X that out. And we're not going to upload tonight probably, but you will need to save it. So we'll learn how to save in Word and save it to your OneDrive. All right. But I do expect you to kind of finish on your own and save in your. It's okay if you don't upload at home. It's okay. Just bring it to class, but try to be done. Okay. And then there's a submit for grading once you've uploaded. All right. So next, what do you think's next? Now that we have this open, where are we going to go? I'm going to go into our chapter 12 e-text, our ever exciting e-text. This is where tonight you're going to get to see how well you get to know your e-text in the course, which is like a little bit more than you're probably going to be comfortable with. I know every time I go in there, it's always more than I think it's going to be. I'm just closing some windows here, so it's a little less weary. Don't need my Gmail. So it wants me to get Flash, allow Flash. So you can always allow Flash in Chrome if it asks you to get Flash. So I think it's 47 or... So here we are, 12A, 12B. 12A is the project we're going to be doing. It's creating a flyer with a picture. 12B, which I'd like you to do for homework, is formatting text, paragraphs, and documents. So let me scroll down. It talks a little bit about, on page 475 we are, what you do in this chapter. And then on the next page it actually says, it starts in with the project. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to go line by line here, and as tedious as it is, it kind of needs to be done, because what you'll find is actually the book will ask you to do things and then ask you to undo it, which is kind of annoying at times, but the benefit of that is that you actually learn the one thing they asked you to do. And it's a little tricky and can be frustrating, because you're like, why did you ask me to do that if it's not really part of the final project? Like, always has frustrated me a little bit, but you'll see. So it also shows you another picture of what the final project looks like. Now the grading does get pretty specific on the spacing and the items and all this. So you do want to kind of do what the book asks you to do, but it's also like a pretty good learning experience. So we have our Word document right here, and it says rename. You'll save your document as last name _ first name 12A flyer. So why don't we go ahead and rename our document that now. So I'm going to file, save as, and this will also let you save it. It's a good practice maybe for us just to save it also locally to the computer. I'm going to save mine to my desktop because it's my computer. So I'm going to write last name _ first name _ 12A flyer. Alright. Everyone see how that is? Last name, first name, last name _ first name _ 12A flyer. And I'm going to put that on my desktop. Now that file is named an extension that you have for this project. All right. So I'm going to scroll down. They also have these little links built from scratch, project walkthrough. I find those to be a little bit more of a distraction than they're worth. The sequence of the steps is pretty straightforward. So that's page 476. So I know it can be a little tedious, but we really do have to kind of go page by page, so just bear with me. It talks about if you're using a touch screen, to tap an item to click it, press and hold for a few seconds. So they talk a little bit about creating a new template and inserting text. So when you start Word, documents you've recently opened, if any, display on the left, you can select template. They're talking about templates here, but we're really not starting a new one, but it is informing us about templates, and they're available. And it talks about creating a new document. So this very number one step, start Word and then click blank document on the home tab in the paragraph group. So right here, I'm just trying to find my mouse, which apparently disappeared. I need my mouse to appear before we continue. That language right there, blank document in the home paragraph tab, is actually really important in order to kind of understand what's going on. So does everyone I gotta get my mouse to work, but everyone knows, does anyone understand what it means home tab in the paragraph group, show and hide in the paragraph symbol in Word? Does anyone understand what that means? If I could show you my mouse, I'd be able to show you. Let me hit F10 and I'll stop recording.